See, if I was an inch taller when I was 18, I would have been a giant, clinically.
Clinically a giant.
Yeah, which would have meant that I would be able to claim benefits to be able to change things like light switches and tabletop heights and things like that. And I would be able to have money to be able to do that.
Light switches?
Yeah, because light switches, if you go to a modern house these days that has been built in the last couple of years, light switches are low down because there might be somebody with a wheelchair can't reach, which I'm sure is terrible. But I have to hurt my back. Do you know, I went into we could do a whole podcast on this. I went into a public loo, okay? And I'm not kidding. The dryer to dry my hands was drying my feet. I had to bend down to dry my hands. And I was like, am I using the kids' one? But no, it wasn't. This was the height that they put them. And I guess if someone's sitting in a wheelchair and they can't reach up high, they can just reach to the right and there it is. But there's me. I look like I don't know, Jolly Green Giant picking corn or something.
Anyway, let's do it.
I am Malcolm Childs.
And I am James Giffins. And we are Just Making Conversation.
The show where we discuss the ins and outs of the model making hobby that we both love so much.
From the greasy sprues to the gloss coats and everything in between, we are going to just make conversation.
Remember, there are other podcasts you can listen to.
Plastic Model Mojo,
The Scale Model Podcast,
Plastic Posse,
On the Bench,
Model Geeks,
Sprue Cutters Union. Or you can head to modelpodcasts.com. Consider leaving a review or 5 stars as it promotes this podcast to more people to enjoy. Also, consider tossing a coin to us on buymeacoffee.com. It just helps us make content for you.
In this episode, we will be just making conversation about model stashes. That room or pile of future projects waiting in the wings. Are your kits hidden under your bed, in the wardrobe, or in the loft?
Stashes bring joy, choices, and confusion, as well as those typical comments from loved ones of,
"Do you really need that?"
And a quote I heard recently was,
"I'm going to kill you if you buy any more kits."
Why do we buy model kits that we haven't the time to build, knowing there is a project on the go, and yet we still go to the model shows or model shops looking for more? And guess what?
What?
My headphones are dying.
Those just shit headphones. I heard that beep. I heard the beep.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, who's left their phones on? No, it's your bloody headphones again. Do you have to plug yourself into the wall?
I'm not going to plug my wireless headphones into the wall now.
So, short podcasts then.
Yes. Thank you for listening, and
Cheers.
Tune in next week.
Thank you for listening to Just Making Conversation. Is there a record for the shortest podcast?
I know there is. Funny enough, I know there is a record for the longest.
Oh, well, yeah. Plastic Posse got that, haven't they?
No, there is one longer.
Oh, we shouldn't.
No. You and me are going to have an hour argument. You carry on. 1 second.
For listeners, James is currently trying to sort out his headphones.
What did you say?
Nothing.
Ah, okay. I may have switched myself off, though I wasn't charging.
So are you charging now?
I believe so.
They're really good wireless headphones. You can hardly see the wire at all.
Yes, I have flashy lights. I turned myself off.
What are we talking about?
So anyway, Malcolm, in this episode, we are talking about stashes. And the reason for that is a question was asked by a listener. And I shall lay down the foundations of this episode.
Oh, I'm glad you said that. Would you lay down the foundations, please, for this episode?
Basically, the foundations for this episode are based on a conversation between husband and wife. Now, obviously, I don't want to embarrass anybody, so we're going to use assumed names. So the husband, Lois, said to his darling wife, Matt, "I really would like to buy a new kit." To which the reply from his wife was, No, your stash is too big already. This is a dilemma that happens to a lot of us model makers. He enjoys building large things, and although his stash is not very big, the kits within the stash are.
So the quantity of kits is low.
Yes.
But the amount of volume that these kits take up is high.
Yes.
So he was saying he had a small stash.
So yes, and he was stating, I quote, "My stash is very small." To which she replied, "No, it's very big."
Oh, I see.
"Dear Malcolm, can you help them?"
It's like agony aunt. What do they call those sections? It is agony, isn't it? Agony.
Dear Clara, to that effect.
I would say that it doesn't matter how big it is. Size doesn't matter. Cliche. As long as you've got the space to store it, it's fine. If there's space in the wardrobe where the clothes are, then use it up. If there's space in the shoe cupboard, use it up. Airing cupboard, there's plenty of space. Under the bed, plenty of space. Kids' beds, usually loads of space. In British houses, that space between in all houses. What am I on about? Jesus. In all staircases in all the world, there's a massive space between you on the bottom step and the ceiling. So if you put shelves in there, no one can really reach that but tall people. So you could put a load of kits up there. No one would know they're there really unless they went upstairs. Or if they're coming downstairs, they're going to get an eyeful.
of kits, obviously, yes.
Obviously.
Yes.
Or space down the middle of the bed between you and your wife. Fill that with model kits. Loads of space there.
I'm guessing in this particular instance that the couple may not be talking because obviously there is some debate over whether that new model can be bought or not. So there may well be space.
Yeah. I'd say just go and buy it and then apologise later with a bunch of flowers. Look at the size of this kit I bought, darling. And she'll go, "What the effing heck have you done with my money?" And you go, and you open it up and inside's a bunch of flowers.
Squashed in amongst the sprue.
You take the sprue out and that's in the car.
I've just had like a major... Airfix, I know you can do this because this is right up your street. Can we please have a model kit of a bunch of flowers? Perfect gift. New model kit, bunch of flowers, love. You just got to make them and paint them. Last forever.
They did birds, didn't they, for a while?
They did do birds, yeah.
Robins and sparrows, pigeons.
Maybe they thought it through and it just wasn't worth doing. I don't know.
I don't think anybody has decided to do a series of flowers in model making.
Well, you say that, but I think Mini Art are going to bring out a market stall with flowers very soon.
Oh, there you go. Maybe you could do that then.
Yeah.
Try it on your wives and let us know how it went.
A bit of market research for Airfix. Thanks for taking part. Now, I got to agree with you that I don't think realistically the size of the stash and the size of the kits within stash are even related in the conversation, if I'm honest. And obviously, yes, storage is the main thing. If you've got it, use it. That's what I say.
Remember, there's usually a bit of extra space inside a model kit box. Even with the sprues, they have a little extra wiggle room, don't they? They're not packed tightly. You can get other kits in there.
Oh, yeah.
Just so you know. And if you take all your kits out of the boxes, flat pack your boxes and store your sprues, you can get way more in that space.
Do you know there are people listening right now that have either turned off or just killed over because of that? Wow. Flatten my boxes.
Why not? It's a box. It's a fuck. What do you do with your boxes once you're finished?
We're going to come to that in a little while, but while we're just talking about stashes generally...
Are we?
We are, actually, because it's on my list.
Oh, you have a list.
I have a list. I am so prepared. Yeah, so your stash. What nooks and crannies have you got your stash stored in, Malcolm?
Well, I've got some massive nostrils above my stash. I wax it often, twiddle it, perhaps.
Not that sort of stash.
Oh, gotcha. My model stash consists in terms of ideas that I had. I've got a red arrow, for instance, in there, 1/48 scale. It's probably Revel, know me. And I was going to do it all opened up, all the panels open and everything, exactly like they have at RAF Valley when they do their services and stuff. And I had that idea probably about 4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I still want to make that. Other things have got in the way. You know, someone printed a 3D figure for me the other day, very kindly sent it to me, and I was so excited I started painting it straight away, which gets in the way of the other figures that I was painting, which gets in the way of completing that tank over there, which gets in the way of finishing that Corsair that I've still got sitting up the top there, thanks James, and gets in the way of all the other kits. So that's what my stash is full of, all, you know, that kind of project, that kind of idea. There's not really much in there at all that was just bought on a whim. So I don't have the money to buy stuff on a whim. So it has to be kind of, you know, there's a reason in my brain. Well, my brain says that's the reason, and you can buy that. Now, saying that, of course, that's a complete lie, because there are kits in there that I bought on a whim. Jesus. There's one. This is a Saab Viggen, but it's a really, really old kit, and it's got raised panel lines on it. I bought that, I think, ages and ages and ages ago when someone was selling it, and I was like, oh, wow, that'd be really cool, but I haven't built it, have I? So it's still in the stash. I've got a beautiful D9R Meng kit bulldozer that was actually given to me by somebody who passed away, and I can't. Well, I can wait to build it because I have waited, but that's going to be a special build, and I want to make sure that I haven't got loads of things on, you know, and I'll wait till I can really concentrate on that, because it's part started as well by this guy that's not with us anymore, so it'll be it's quite an important build for me. And there's other things in there. There's lots of Star Wars stuff, and there's 7 or so Star Wars kits in there that I will build one day. What else is in my stuff? Tons of bolt action stuff as well. Yeah, I got real hard on for bolt. Can't really say that, can I?
You can, but
well, I didn't want to.
You did.
So I was getting relaxed. That's the trouble. Episode 18. Just don't care anymore.
It's 19, but never mind.
Is it? I'm editing episode 18, so I'm always kind of an episode behind. Oh, I really like passionately bolt action figures, the Warlord ones, and I've got quite a lot. Lots of sprues to build and paint, so that's fine. I mean, for me, I feel I've got too much stuff. Although it takes only a couple of boxes, it feels like I'm storing it for no reason other than I bought it too early. Why am I storing it when the shop could be storing it for me? And it's not like there's suddenly going to be, you know, a plastic pandemic where suddenly no plastic works anymore and everything's degraded. Suddenly you have to buy up all the plastic. But that's how people feel, I think, isn't it? They see a bargain, they're like, I've got to have it now.
That's probably a good segue to my stash, really. Is a lot of my stash is, it was a bargain and I got to have it. My stash is not above my cupboard. Well, I tell a lie, actually, in true style. Above the cupboard behind me in my ops room. I've got a few kits here. I cleared most of them out, I got to be honest. When I say cleared out, don't worry, I didn't sell them. I didn't move them on. I just moved the actual physical place they were stored.
Wow.
Most of my kits now are in the loft.
Or the attic for our other friends.
They're stored nicely and sensibly. My stash started when I came back to the hobby properly, which was maybe 10 years ago-ish, I suppose. Maybe less. And it was literally a case of I'd ripped open some boxes that I knew were up there with some kits that I had, and I wanted to see if I could get some others. I managed to purchase a couple of stash purchases. So I was buying someone else's stash. And a lot of those kits were older kits, not of great value, and in some cases, not the greatest kits in the world. But it was a case of expanding my possibilities in my stash in the cheapest way.
Was this part of was it a submarine you were purchasing at the same time?
I might have mentioned it once times before.
18 episodes ago.
Oh my God, yeah, 18 and something. Basically, one of the stashes I did buy, you're right, was the reason I bought the stash was because I was after one particular model, and that was the 172nd Flower Class Corvette.
Ding ding.
Bingo. Yeah, and that was the main reason. There were a couple of other kits I seem to remember, but within this stash and hoard of kits, there were a great deal of 172nd old Airfix kits, ranging from landing craft to tanks to all sorts of stuff. They didn't really interest me too much. So there were also some wargaming. They were like pillboxes and things like that.
Terrain.
Terrain. Thank you, yeah.
Not train.
No, not train.
Were there any trains in there?
There were no trains in there, but there were terrain. Not trains in the rain, terrain. But anyway, the idea was that I would buy the hoard, keep the kits I wanted, and sell on the rest. But unfortunately, when I listed a lot of the models, I didn't want to sell them, so I took them off. It didn't work quite as a business as as I first envisaged.
Oh, yeah, second-hand kit business.
I wasn't really setting up a business. It was more a case of sell on what I didn't want so I could buy what I wanted.
Oh, right, yeah.
That was the idea. But within that, the gentleman was very kind. I forget his name.
Is that desk clean?
And I said to him, I said, oh, yeah, I like building dioramas and et cetera, et cetera. And he said to me, oh, is this the main reason you've bought the stash? I said, well, it's one of a couple of main reasons, yes. So he said, oh, well, hang on a second. And he ran upstairs and came back down with another box full of sprues and said, it just so happens I have this other 172nd Flower Class Corvette. Would you like it? And I was like, oh, really? Yeah, it'd be really lovely. The reason is there's a couple of bits missing. So I was like, oh, okay, fair enough. I'll take it from you. Thank you very much. Well, it turned out the bits that were missing from this ship was the hull. So yeah, that's a part of my stash. The other side of my stash is, I would say probably 80% of them impulse buys, things that I've seen that I must have. And that's to do with Telford and shows.
Do you go to a show with like, oh yeah, I really need to get my Sherman on? Or do you go there and go, I've just seen a really nice Sherman and I now need to buy that Sherman? Is that how it works?
No, not really. I generally will go to a show. There might be a kit I've seen over the year, especially Telford. Telford's a great example where I thought of a particular kit that I'd walked in the door and hoped to find. So I've said this in another podcast about the Horsa Glider 135th that I haven't got. That was once something I was looking for, but I also was looking for the B-17 from Hong Kong Models, which is 132nd. And I'd been watching someone build that online. Really looked interesting, looked like it's something that would be good fun to do. Well into your detailing up and all that sort of stuff, scratch building, blah, blah, blah. And walked into a show and saw one and went, oh, second hand, I want that. I so want that.
Did you have the cash in your pocket?
No.
Was there an ATM nearby?
Well, there was an ATM nearby, but unfortunately that was empty because it was about 20 minutes into the show.
Yes. It's like a strip club ATM.
Yeah, top tip, going to Telford, ATM, don't bother. 5 mile radius, don't bother. To be honest, I had plastic in my pocket. I'm not embarrassed to say it. I actually phoned my wife. I didn't ask for permission, but I asked her what she thought. Did she think it'd be a good idea? It was a sizable amount of money. I was told to get off the phone and stop being so silly. So I bought it.
So it was a yes.
That was the yes. It was a case of I'm busy, go away. The milkman's in. Just recently, in the last 2 years or so, I have been a lot more selective with my purchases. I'm not particularly shied away from the cost side of things if the quality's there. Yeah. For example, I've bought myself 3 sets of figures that are what I would term as high-end costs from RP Models.
Wow, yeah.
100% worth the money. Really lovely guy, Hugo. I see them as an investment. But if anything happens and I can't make them or don't want to make them, I can sell them and sell them for the same amount that I bought them for. It's like an investment in plastic and the cost of plastic at the time. You know, people buy gold bars, don't they? Stick them under their beds, you know. Yeah. Where do you put gold bars? People do buy them. I've not got any room under my bed that's full of models. Maybe they put them in the cistern. Oh, yes, maybe. Space in there. Yeah, and you can sell it, you know, and it'll relatively keep its cost. I think that's the same with models. As long as you don't open it or put any glue on it, try and keep all the pieces together, and you sell it looking like the thing that you bought, then it's going to kind of keep the same kind of cost. Unless you bought it straight out of when it was released. Yes. The price is, you know, super inflated. I think that's one of the things to remember is majority of model kits are around. They're still around. They will be around. So those new releases that you really must have them right now, potentially, you don't need to buy them right now. You can buy them later. You can buy them when you have the room or the project to start right now. Some things like the RP models that I've bought, the figures, they're a short run. So there are only so many made. In those cases, they are sort of, I'll grab it now. The chances of them coming up are rare. Majority of models you can pretty much buy. I mean, if you think about Tamiya, It's still knocking out kits from the 1960s.
Yeah.
They're still available.
If the molds are still good, they're still banging them out. And they put out so many that
Yeah.
I guess there's lots in store in people's lofts and attics or basements or cellars.
Covered all the bases. I like that.
Yeah, all of them. Do they call it lofts in Australia?
Do they have lofts in Australia?
Well, whatever it is under their roof.
Ooh.
They have flat roofs, do they?
I don't know.
They have attics?
Might do. I don't know. We got people screaming at us now. You know that, right?
Yeah. Stop. Shut up.
Honestly, you English people. Looking at my list, Malcolm, let's go back to something we were talking about very briefly earlier, which is what do you do with your boxes once you've finished your model? What do you do? What do you do with your boxes after you finish your model, Malcolm?
Well, tell you what, why don't you tell me what you do with yours first, and then once my wife's finished eating toast in the background, then I can tell you about mine.
Okay, then. So generally speaking, when I finish a model kit, I will throw the box out. I don't keep the box.
Right.
However, there are a few occasions where a model that I have made, I like the box art. There are a few occasions where I will cut the lid off, and use that as a picture in the background against the wall.
Oh, and then frame it as a work of art.
Funny enough, there are people out there who do exactly that. They cut and collect the box art and put them in frames.
Well, fair enough. That's nice. Nice pictures, aren't they? And then it makes sense. As long as it doesn't have this set includes 5 acrylic paints slapped all over it.
I do that with a few, but most of them, if I'm honest, once I finish a kit, the sprue is gone through, and any extra bits that are left within the kit, I separate. Sometimes, depending on what they are, I might put them in a little bag and label them as to what they are as parts. And then that goes into a bigger box of parts. I have
Gosh, but you're fun at parties.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I tell you what, go look at my box of bits. So you keep all the sprues, you saying, or you keep all the parts that you haven't used?
No, it depends. Like for example, figures. If it's figures out of a kit, I will often cut all the bits off for the figures and put them in a bag and mark it English soldier or whatever. If it's tank parts, tracks or wheels, then I cut the sprue down so that it is the limited amount of sprue that it is. That goes in a box. So I have got a box of tank bits. I've got a box of figures. I've got a box of odds and ends in different scales if I want a greebly for some reason or other. I didn't used to do this. This is a new thing. This is something that came about because of you, Malcolm.
Don't blame me.
Because we did a big box build. That's right. And I had no bits in a box.
Oh.
So
you started making a bits box?
Which are little containers, like the chewing gum containers that go into the box so that I can use those to build a fuselage, for example, or whatever. I've saved a few of those bits and pieces as well.
Okay, that's cool. I had a box similar, a bit bigger, and I started cutting all the parts that I didn't use in a kit and kept them in a box. But the box just ended up just almost impossible to dig through because it was just full of stuff. And I used some of that in a build recently just for junk. Just grabbed a handful of it and stuck it together and stuck it in a corner of something. And it was nice junk pile. A futuristic junk pile that had a few World War II bombs in it. But,
it all works.
Not many people notice that. It's useful to have those bit box for all sorts of bits, even if it is just to help with structure or holding something together. I used a lot of it in the Ed 209 I built. A lot of extra bits and pieces that will hold things together, almost like a skeleton for something. What about the sprues and things? Do you recycle yours? What do you do your sprues?
Yes, I do recycle them in as much as I put them in the recycling bin. A lot of it goes that way. I do keep a few bits of sprue here and there, purely because I don't want to attack the odd bits that are in the box that are on the sprues. But if you want to make an aerial or something, you want to do a sprue stretching. So I've got a few bits in there. What I've also made sure I've done is I've got a little bit of Airfix, I've got a little bit of Revell, I've got a little bit of other makes, because they all act in different ways depending on what you want. So, I've got some, but I'm not a great deal. Most of the sprue will go in the bin with the box, or what remains of the box.
Does your local authority take the type of polystyrene that it is? Do you know?
Yes, they do.
Oh, cool. You just go in the recycling bin anyway. It's not like they send it back, is it?
No, well,
can you imagine that?
Yeah, well, that could be quite interesting because they could mix up other modelers' sprue and just bring a big box of sprue back, and you could end up with a whole new bits box.
That's right. What can I build from this?
I wonder whether there is model builders in the recycling centre that pick out, oh, look at that, I'll have that bit of sprue. And they got their own separate little box that they've said to the boss, I'm going to take that home with me because I can use that. Do you think?
No.
Okay.
I think there might be guys that working at the tip that say, wow, does that TV work? No, it doesn't work. Wow, that's a table. I'll have that table. And their wives are like,
will you stop bringing back tables? Because seriously, we've got 12 in the lounge.
It'll be very hard to say goodbye to the things that you see in the tip that you know might be worth a few pennies. Maybe you get jaded by it. Anyway, we're talking about tips. Why are we talking about tips? We should be talking about models, model making.
I don't know why you got your tips.
Yeah, no more tips.
No.
We are talking about stashes, if you just tuned in. It's not radio. Just tuned in. You need to rewind. So, James, we need to do an update on the Moosaroo Cup, where you are with it.
Moosaroo Cup, the Moosaroo Cup. Let's talk about the Moosaroo Cup. Boom! Woohoo!
First of all, may I take this opportunity to just make sure, if I haven't said so already, thank you so much for IPMS Hamilton for their amazing support, and also Lightspeed Global for their help as well in this venture. Yes, so the update for the build is that I haven't started yet.
Cool, that's cool. Well, thanks for tuning in for that update.
Thank you. However,
do you know why you haven't started yet?
I do know why.
It's because you keep making videos.
Oh, yeah. Did you see that video?
Procrastinate.
As you would have heard in episode 18, we had our first video to challenge our fellow podcasters to making a video to promote the wonders of the Moosaroo Cup. I'm hoping someone will take me up on the challenge, but we'll see. Coming very shortly, I am going to build the said Moosaroo Cup build live on the Facebook page for Just Making Conversation. So the program is coming up very shortly. It's still in planning, as into dates and times, and making sure that I can fulfill my commitment. So watch this space if it hasn't already been advised. So,
okay. When?
It will be at the end of this month when we start. Bear in mind, I don't have to finish this until March of next year, but I do want to get it finished this year because I don't want to leave it to the last minute. So watch out for that. I obviously will be live. You can ask me any questions as you go along, and we can have a chuckle and a chat as we go along. And obviously, I need to make sure that everyone is aware that I'm not allowed any help. So I can't pass you bits of the kit to do, but you can watch me putting them together.
Are you allowed to take advice?
There is nothing in the rules that says I can't take advice. So if I should happen to glue the wrong bit in the wrong place, I can be advised to stop what I'm doing and start again.
Okay. Yeah, because you'll get a lot of that if you're doing a live. Yeah.
Possibly.
You'll go, oh, how do I do that? And they'll go, we got ideas. We've got ideas flowing out of our ears.
The work has got to be my own work. The end product has got to be my own work. So I'm not allowed to subcontract help from buddies or anyone else. So we can talk about it as we go. So that's the plan.
Can't wait to watch it.
We may or may not have the lovely Everybody Loves Malcolm with us. It might just be myself, but we can slum it. It'd be okay. I promise.
But yeah, that'd be cool. Wow. Thank you for that update. That's very exciting.
So, talking about stashes, that obviously we've covered models, but is there anything else in your stash that isn't a model?
Yeah, there is. I have a stash of foam board.
Mm-hmm.
I have a stash of chip cardboard, wood board, that stuff you told me to buy.
The foam board.
No. It's like wood.
The balsa foam.
No, it's something else. It's like sawdust but compressed into a flat sheet.
Oh, balsa foam.
Okay, balsa foam. I got a stash of that.
Oh, have you?
Got a stash of green felt.
Good to have green felt.
It's grass coloured, so it's perfect for little dioramas and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Or underneath, right? To felt the underneath of a model base.
Yep.
I think that's quality. You can imagine a judge picking that up.
Oh, yes.
Oh, is that velvet?
Oh, yes. Definitely. That's thinking beyond the model, isn't it?
Yeah.
To think how a judge might feel his fingers rubbing along that velvet under your model.
Yeah. So, he's thought about my comfort here.
Yeah. Yeah. Extra point.
A £5 note slides out the bottom. I wonder if anyone's thought of doing that.
I'm sure there's been a couple.
Tuck a little tenner underneath.
Oh, thank you very much. Very perfect work. Tick, tick, tick.
Yes, this is definitely the one for me. So, anything else in your stash?
Yeah, so model making resources. Yes, there are things like that. I've got lots of airbrush thinner. I think I must have bought like 6 at once, I think. And I got lots of that, which is great because, everyone needs airbrush thinner. I do have a stash of empty bottles.
Oh, yes.
The Tamiya bottles, once they finish, once they are empty,
yeah.
I have a stash of these. And in fact, it's right next to me here in arm's reach so that I can cuddle it when I need to. Right here, I rattle it. I use those to blue tack a figure onto, so when I can use that to manipulate. In fact, I've got another 5 here.
So you repurpose your empty containers?
I do, but I have way too many than I need. I'm not going to paint 60 figures at once, but I like them, so I haven't thrown away. What about you? Do you have anything in your stash that isn't model related? What else do you hoard?
I've got lots of stuff in my stash that is related to models, but not a kit.
Oh.
I would actually include within that statement research material. So books and other stuff like that. I mean, I have at least 4 or 5 folders of pictures. I've got at least a box, if not 2 boxes, of magazines and stuff that are related to model making. Did a series on Vietnam War.
Who did?
Some magazine company. But I collected all of those and they did 2 series of them. So that I've kept them, I class them as part of my model stash because they are reference material.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
Yeah, so that's all in the same area. Yes, I got some of the balsa foam, which is difficult to get hold of now, but
is it?
Yeah, it's quite hard to get hold of.
Oh.
Yeah, it's not as freely available as it used to be, put it that way.
I don't think all I have is balsa foam. I think it's like this very, very hard cardboard almost.
This stuff?
No, that looks like honeycomb or something.
It's not balsa foam then. You've let me down then. That's cardboard.
No, it's not cardboard.
That is cardboard.
It feels like chipboard.
Chipboard
Is what it says on the tin here.
Right, yes. Did I tell you to get chipboard?
Yeah, you told me to get loads of it. I got loads of it. Look at that. That's a whole stash of chipboard. It's like a whole tree of chipboard. Why I keep it here?
I don't know.
I've got lots of wire. I have more wire than I could shake a stick at. Why do people shake sticks at things?
I don't know. And they shouldn't be shaking sticks at wires.
Well, they shouldn't be shaking sticks at anything.
No.
Where did that phrase come from?
I don't know.
Who's going around shaking sticks at things? What else do you have?
Quite a few tools and stuff that I have replaced or upgraded or stuff like that. No, not massive. It sounds like I've got a load, but I haven't. It's not that much.
Why do you keep it?
Backup is the honest truth. I mean, I've got a very, very lovely cutter that sits on my bench, but I've got my original cutter that I had that my father bought me.
Oh. Is this the chopper?
Yes, I have the chopper, which is very, very nice. Very nice to handle and very heavy and lovely. And then I have a plastic chopper that my father bought me many, many moons ago. So yeah, I keep it as a backup. Sentimental reasons as well, I guess. Yeah, so I've got a few bits and pieces like that, but it's mostly kits.
Yeah, that's what takes up the space.
Not as much space as it needs to.
So let's have a frank conversation about the amount of space that you are actually taking up with your kits, because it's a bone of contention in a lot of families, and a lot of people get bored of talking about model makers and their stashes, but it's a thing. It's a big thing. Are you allowed to have a lot of space used up in your home to fulfill your hobby?
I haven't really ever come across anybody that doesn't support their partner in their hobby and their need for space for stash. My wife's very supportive of what I do, as long as it stays outside the house. I'm joking. My wife wouldn't want me to have a pile of models in my front room next to the television. She wouldn't want a pile of models to act like a coffee table. My wife has her own hobby, which takes up an inordinate amount of room. She likes perfume, basically. Collects perfume. That's what she does. You really wouldn't think that a small bottle of perfume would take up so much room, but it does.
What?
She's got so many of them.
Oh, so are they in fancy boxes?
They're all in the boxes. Some are unopened because they're collectible. She has a wardrobe that is full. She has a dressing table that's full. She has a what they term as a tall boy cupboard. Google that.
Tall boy.
Tall boy.
Tall boy. Tall.
Tall boy. Yeah. You know, when Grandma says to you, well, you're a tall boy.
Yes. Yes, my grandma used to do that, yes. So not tall. Tall boy. Tall.
And that's full of perfume.
Wow.
And there are other areas in which she may have put them as well. That's her hobby. So I think in that respect, I'm lucky because obviously she has that hobby which she hides lots of stuff in nooks and crannies, so to speak. And when I walk in the door with the model, I don't get moaned at. She's very supportive.
Okay. Oh, that's brilliant. It's interesting you say that you don't know many people who don't have supportive partners. I would say you probably don't have many friends. I have many people I know that their partners are unsupportive and unwilling to let them have space. To, even to have an extra table for their modelling stuff. They have to use the dining room table. Especially, if they get a couple of kits, they get moaned at because they've got, they're taking space up and all that kind of thing. But I would always say that to the partners, this is going out to the partners who aren't listening. But I would say if your chap is happy, then it doesn't matter how much space he's taking up, because a happy chappy is a happy house.
Mm-hmm. But yes, I have friends that don't have a dedicated room. Friends that model on a kitchen table or a tray or something.
Okay. Yeah.
And I'm sure there's friction because I've been there. I've been in that position where young children running around and you're sat there trying to glue a model together, and that's not a great environment to do it in, let's be honest, if you haven't got a dedicated space. And also your size of your stash is limited to the environment in which you live, which obviously means the workspace that you have is limited by the space in which you live.
Yeah.
I don't know anybody that has literally ripped someone apart and gone, you've got to take that back to the shop. Sort of thing. They're supportive within the boundaries that they can be. I'm lucky that I can buy them, hide them quick enough for Natasha not realise that they're in the loft.
Climb that ladder like a Mario on Donkey Kong.
Oh, yes. I got my own little conveyor belt now. The postman doesn't put it through a letterbox. He just put it on the conveyor belt, so straight into the loft. Thank you very much. No, she's quite good. I can't mind about her.
Is that the same avenue he uses to come home when you're not there?
No. He comes through the door because only I go through the service entrance. Going back to Dear Clara, the advice we were asked...
Dear Malcolm.
Dear Malcolm, the advice we were asked by, I can't remember their names now.
Matt and Lois, wasn't it?
Oh, that's right, yes, yeah, Matt and Lois. No, the size of your kits don't come into it. The size of your stash doesn't come into it. The size of your storage does.
Mm-hmm. And you try to stuff something that's too big in a small hole, you're going to have problems. Or build the damn things quicker. You're right.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Thought you were having a stroke.
No, it was the comment about stuffing it in small holes. Sorry.
Right. Dear, oh dear. Do you have any friends that have a problem and have bought way too much?
A kit problem.
Yeah. Someone who they got model kits in their kids' bedrooms, that kind of thing.
Well, the short answer is yes. But you need a longer answer, really. There are a couple. I can think of one who I won't name. They can stay anonymous.
What was that?
Anonymous.
Okay.
I know for a fact that he has his stash, some of his stash, underneath his bed. I don't know how to describe it, really. It's a bed in which you pull the mattress up and it's a cupboard with underneath the bed.
What?
Do you know what I mean?
No.
It's physically a cupboard. It's got hinges and stuff, but you pull.
What, is it like a cabin bed, like a bunk bed thing?
No, he's an adult with a wife.
Okay, sorry. I didn't know.
It's basically a double bed. Well, I assume it's better. I don't know. I've never physically seen it, but anyway. Oh, this is awkward now.
You better not name this guy.
He has a bed that. The problem is he'll be listening to this again. He's talking about me, you know. He does. He's not seen my bed at all. His main bed that he sleeps in with his wife is the sort of bed that is like a box that the mattress sits on the lid, and the lid is on hinges, and you pull the mattress up, and underneath is a storage area.
Oh, that's genius.
Most people would store underneath the bed, bedding or clothing or whatever.
That's brilliant. Okay, yeah.
But I know he has some of his stash in there. But I also know he has some of the stash in the wardrobe as well, but other places. But yeah.
So are you saying that his wife doesn't know that that bed goes up on hinges and that he's stored stuff in there?
Oh, no, she knows.
Okay.
She fully knows.
Because that would be funny. If you buy a bed,
yes,
set it up, and they didn't know they were sleeping on top of the kit stash the entire time, that would be hilarious.
That would be a big secret.
Yeah, surprise!
All this time. Yeah, I know. I have another friend who, funnily enough, his kit stash is an admirable size kit stash, but his wife's stash of embroidery kits is bigger than his kit stash.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Wow. So they don't take much space up. They're just like a thin...
Oh, no.
Oh, no?
But I have actually seen the room that her stash sits in, and it is a room, literally.
She has an embroidery room.
6 by 9 room, maybe. And that has shelves and drawers and cupboards, and everything is jam-packed full of cross-stitch and embroidery and all sorts of stuff like that. And he has a little cupboard in the corner.
Well, that's fine. Does he not like the fact that she's got a hobby and has all that space? And he doesn't.
It's a little bit like myself when I was saying about my wife has a hobby of collecting perfumes. And
yeah,
I should imagine it's a case of, yeah, you carry on with your hobby, love, and I'll carry on with mine. It's all good.
Do you know, James, I got so many questions about your wife's hobby with the perfumes. I have a list of questions that is not the time or the place to be discussing on a podcast about scale modelling.
No.
I'm sure the listeners have a lot of questions.
I know for a fact that if you made a moment to speak to her, she would more than happily speak to you for far longer than 3 hours about that.
There's a podcast in it for her.
I've tried.
You have?
I have tried. I've tried many different ways to get her to do something to do with her perfume, and I've failed miserably.
Perfume podcast.
This is slightly off topic, obviously, so I apologise, but...
It's funny, isn't it? That between our hobby is like all over the place. You go to museums and air shows and you read books about it and all that kind of stuff. But her hobby is just that thing, just that one collecting thing. Does she frequent forums and Facebook posts? And
she's on a perfume forum. I think, to be honest, I don't really understand the forum very well, but it would just appear to say, look at what I've got. I don't think it's anything more than that.
I smelt this perfume and I thought I could smell African drying wood in a breeze from Mexico.
Or some other strange way of explaining what some perfume smells like.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm with you. So they discuss the odours.
The tones, lovey. Whether it sticks in your throat or not, or...
It strips the oven clean.
Yeah, so she's very good with that. She has that knowledge. She can talk to somebody about perfume and drill down quite well what you might like as a perfume. So she could figure out the tones in which you like and then go, oh, what you need is...
Oh, wow. But she doesn't exercise that muscle.
No, it's just a shame.
But she doesn't want to, so it's fine.
No, No, she. To be honest, she wants to learn how to build models.
No, she doesn't.
No, she does.
No.
I keep telling her that, and I keep buying her kits and saying, "Look, this one's for you, love." Oh, you don't want this one? Okay, then. I'll put it in my pile.
True story. My dad bought my mum a dot matrix printer one Christmas.
Right.
And my mum was not very happy. That was a odd Christmas day. She was excited, so excited, because it was a big box.
Yeah.
It was the biggest box under the tree.
Oh, yeah.
If your present is the biggest box under your tree, you're going to have a good Christmas.
You know you are.
She opens it, it's a dot matrix printer.
I don't understand why she didn't have a good time with it.
Well, she didn't want it, so my dad had it.
That's brilliant.
Have you seen that new Pelican model?
No.
It's really well put together, but the bill is massive. There is a blurred line between modeler, collector, and hoarder. Is there a limit? A number that is too many, or does the size of the kit determine the size of the stash?
Maybe one day there will be a plastic shortage and we will have to rely on the model kits in our stash to keep us going. It doesn't matter where you hide, or should I say store them, as long as they are safe and in reach of a cuddle. You've been listening to Just Making Conversation with James Skiffins
and Malcolm Childs. Follow us on Facebook, where we post photos, updates, and other nonsense. A big thank you to our supporters,
Robert, Andrew, John, Mike, Jeff, Richard, Lynn, Gordon, and 4 others,
who took the time to buy me a coffee. If you would like to grind some beans with us, come join us on buymeacoffee.com. If you do show your support, why not leave a message with your name so we can give you a shout out? Next time, we'll be just making conversation about going big.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, take care.
And in answer to one of our listeners' questions, Nat, size really doesn't matter.